Welcome in everybody to Variant Intel episode 16 featuring Mr. Spaceman. We got Spaceman in the house this week. How are you, my friend? Mr.
I'm
Spaceman, are you
doing.
there?
Oh,
There he
yep.
is.
I'm doing well today. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What a crazy last week or so it's been, right?
Crazier, crazier for me than most weeks.
I mean, nothing big happened. I mean, just a
Space Bob, the first
space
variant.
bob.
You know.
Yeah, little new code to crack. I mean, it's pretty much run of the mill, right?
Oh yeah.
No, dude. It's so number one. Thank you for agreeing to come on and be on the show. You've been really crucial in this new ARG that's been going on with the whole Space Bob character and everything, and we're gonna get into all that in just a moment. Um, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got in the community, and what is Spaceman all about?
As you heard, I'm Mr. Spaceman. I've been in the community practically from the beginning. I was the 167th person to beat the original ARG. I wasn't too active around the time. However, since then, I have been very active in keeping up with the lore, trying to make it as public as possible. And in the recent weeks, the ARG actually started off of one of my tweets. So, yeah, I'm really grateful to be in the community and be a larger part in the recent days.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you said you were part of the original ARG airdrop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. I definitely because so we're definitely going to get into all this, and there's a lot of credit to throw around too. So Spaceman has been really integral in a lot of this, but make no mistake about it, folks. For those listening, there have been a myriad of different community members that have pitched in with all this stuff, and again, we're going to get into all that. Um, let's see, where should we start? Maybe let's start with just a little background on the what do you call it? The original ARG, and how did that kind of work? How did you come to be a part of that?
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, so for the original ARG, uh, how did uh, how did that come about? How did you get involved with it?
So honestly, with the original one, I was just kind of a puzzles guy. I didn't really do a ton to help back then because I was a bit younger back then than I am now, only 18. So I just wasn't hanging out with everyone who was active at the time.
Okay.
Um, However, I was on the sidelines. There would be times I'd hop in VCs, chat a tiny bit. Nowhere near as active as I am now, however.
Okay. So it's just kind of fell in your lap, something you stumbled upon.
Honestly, yeah. I saw the 12 a.m. tweet just one time, and I just clicked on the link, joined the Discord, and from then on, I just made sure that I kept up to date. I would hop into Felipe's notes, hop into the doc that was made at the time, and just take a look around. Ended up doing the ARG game through the bot and beat it one day.
Yeah, the Midnight Protocol bot. So, just a little context. I know a little bit about it, but I know in the beginning, before the first really like big press releases or anything were going on, I think Doc had announced it that he was working on forming a studio, right? But that was kind of it. There was just nothing much else. It was just the Midnight Protocol bot that started this ARG, and then at the end of that was more or less
Payments.
the first 500 variants that were airdropped, right?
Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, actually, around the time there was like 30,000 people in the Discord or something like that.
Oh wow,
However,
okay.
so there was definitely it was either 3,000 or 30,000, one of the two. I saw something recently that made me question it, but yeah, it was a bit of a race to get the first 500. It slowed down a tiny bit, but yeah, after the ARG was finished and after the first 500 were chosen, it was just a waiting game, and then we saw Dead Drop and Midnight Society.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I think ARGs, for those that may not be aware of what that stands for, it just stands for augmented reality game, and it's a way that game developers have used in the past to find creative ways outside of the game to introduce either lore or uncover secrets pertaining to the game, or maybe special unlock codes or something like that. And it's really a community building tool, and it works very well. It's a very exciting thing to be a part of if you can. So that's what that stands for. So we recently had a new ARG that that popped up regarding this Space Bob character. Now, Spaceman, give us a little background on what even is a Space Bob, and like where did that come from, and how did it turn into kind of what it is now, and then we can go on to like the recent ARG that happened.
So Space Bob actually originally was a simple mistake. Space Bob was a little background and a piece of a image that you were able to highlight, and that highlight would show up as a blue line. Yashiro, I believe, actually said, "Can we name the random Space Bob?" So after that was born Space Bob. The
There you
blue
go.
line.
But wait, but now Space Bob's being just a blue line, but obviously the Midnight Society community really cooked up something really unique for it, right? Like we wouldn't stand for it being just a simple line. To us, it means so much more. Tell us about that.
So basically, Space Bob was just this character that people were toying around with, and it's like Space Bob's addicted to space dust, and he's this awesome fan-made character. And one day, a demand came out that Space Bob would be an NPC, the first NPC for Dead Drop. And one little thing about the ARGs is that 402, Robert Bowling, the head of the studio, would always give us check marks on things that would give us like approval. Like, yes, you're right. He checked marked the tweet, the image saying Space Bob's first NPC or we riot.
Yeah.
And that's where all this is coming in now.
And now we're staying up till past midnight trying to crack codes, and we had other community members and folks and Spaceman, you can help me out. I know it's just a long list of community members: Felipe, Artix, Lolo, Daft. We
That's
had
a lot of
Neptune,
people.
we had Taco, we had freaking 30 plus people just really pitching in. I know Artix was doing some AI upscaling. We had people doing audio
It
spectrograms. I mean, it got in the weeds, didn't
it got insanely detailed. The reason why he was actually having to upgrade that photo, that image, is because we couldn't tell what that image said. The response to my tweet, since he posted it through Twitter, the Twitter file compressed it, and there was two letters that we could not figure out. So
Oh
Arctics and
yeah.
everyone else spent 5 hours
Oh
figuring it
rip.
out just to get the word Terra.
Yeah, rip Twitter compression, man. I know what you mean. We all feel the hurt on that.
But I wouldn't even say that's the worst part. In the most recent updates to it, we've gotten DMs from Mr. Avanti actually with references to different artists, Edgar Allan Poe to be specific, and you cannot download things from your DMs. So what would end up happening is we would have to get someone to screen record us screen sharing
Yep.
these DMs, and it's a process. It was definitely a process.
Yeah. Hey, pro tip for anybody trying to do something like that: OBS works great for this kind of stuff. So if you get something like an ARG piece of material that you just can't download it for some reason, you can use OBS to do a screen record. That's one way. I know there's a bunch of ways to do it, but I like to use OBS for. That's kind of what I was doing on some of that stuff, because whenever like you had the video with the Raven, the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, I think I had to use OBS to screen record some of that and add it to the folder. So,
Gotcha. Yeah,
but
because there wasn't many conventional downloads.
yeah, so in a short form for the viewer and the listener, what would you say is the results so far of who is Space Bob?
So we of course can't be 100% sure that Robert Avanti is Space Bob. However, it is a near 99%.
Yep.
Um, of course, Bob is short for Robert Avanti. That was one of the bigger clues towards it. However, Robert Avanti is the maker of the comics. Robert Avanti is the original creator of the Dirk Sappums, and if you look at his LinkedIn, his background actually is Space Bob's comic. So that's a pretty big tease right there.
Yep.
However, in the emails, he actually refers to himself as Space Bob. Whenever I sent an email asking, "Where is Bob? What's happening?" Stuff like that, he said, "The closer you get to me, the closer they are at stopping us."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he pretty straightforward says that he is Space Bob.
Yeah. No, that's super cool, man. I know for a lot of us in the community, that was a really big moment, and you know, a lot of us thought we might be getting Space Bob in the snapshot because historically, so far, Midnight Society would tease some feature that would be coming in the next snapshot, and in snapshot 5, the ending art in the variant guide was Space Bob, so we were all but certain. So the assumption was is that whatever his role is got pushed back potentially, but instead we've got this ARG, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's seeming to shape up to be a lot more than just the identity of Space Bob. It seems to be giving us a much more like deep lore bits and pieces. I think the most recent thing we saw is more details on the climate wars, or that's what looks like is coming. Is that correct?
Yes. So in the recent days, we've gotten another update, and that update led us to a website.
Mhm.
It led us to dirkspappen.com/8987528.
Mhm.
After we deciphered all of the codes with Edgar Allan Poe and everything involving that, we ended up getting the code Lenore 4,
Mhm.
and this code has led us to somewhat of a glossary. This glossary mentions the eyes, embers, claws, variants, cleaners, refiner state, and the climate wars. And on the website, there is a 3-second video that in the bottom right actually labels 7/20/2023 at 12 a.m. So we yesterday, well, day before yesterday, now we stayed up, we waited, and nothing actually came at the time. And yesterday, some people got tweeted by Robert Avanti with another video that bit like codingly said, from the eyes to the embers, from the variants to the claws, we shall tell the truth, or something like that. And it had another video that was it said the date of today at midnight.
Yeah.
Um, so we stayed up. Nothing happened again for some reason.
I know we had an AMA with Robert Bowling yesterday, and I believe more than one person asked about this. So, I
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Rob say something about like he was not only impressed and excited and like having so much fun watching all the work you guys were doing, but that it was going a little bit faster than he expected? Was that the vibe? Am I correct in that?
It was something like that. He had told us that tomorrow at midnight, which we had assumed was yesterday at midnight,
Mm-hmm.
big things were happening and that we would be busy for the next week. So I can imagine come tonight at midnight, which got to stay up till 2 a.m. again. Um,
We're staying up,
I
folks.
3 days in a row, 2 a.m. Woohoo.
Woo. Dedication.
But we're definitely going to be having people like Arctics and Chats. People are going to be staying up, low, all trying to see what happens. And what I'm going to assume is going to happen is we're going to get some history on the world, whether it's the climate wars or it's the refiner states, because we have.
Which I'm here for it. I'm so excited to learn more about this. So, um, it's funny because when Dead Drop when we were like snapshot 1, snapshot 2 earlier on, you know, Robert and you know, the studio, they they made a point to say that and Rob cleared this up in the AMA yesterday too, that the game the game is not supposed to have a whole bunch of lore in it. It's not a narrative driven game, but he cleared up to say that that doesn't mean that there won't be a deep rich lore and world building for Dead Drop, and there absolutely is going to be. And again, for those that are new or just tuning in, the the world of Dead Drop takes place in an alternate reality, the year 2020B, and it is during what they're calling the climate wars. Now, we don't know a lot about that yet, but it looks like, based on this ARG and all this info we've been talking about, that we're about to get some really heavy hitting storylines and story beats to answer a lot of those questions. So, as Spaceman pointed out, there's a lot of community members that are going to be standing up quite late and putting in a lot of hours on top of the ones they've already put in to bring you this information. So, hats off to the community and everyone involved putting the time in. Your efforts are very much appreciated, and what an awesome like, just even the little bits that we have now for the story are so interesting, man. And Mayor Reynolds in the chat mentioned Dead Drop ARGs are the best since Halo 2. I could not agree more. I think when you look at historically other games that have done ARGs, Dead Drop is taking it to the next level. They really are. They're putting in some serious effort. I mean, these videos, I was like kind of in and out of the Discord watching you guys work and do your magic, and I'm just like blown away. I mean, like I said earlier, I was watching Artix do like AI upscaling, and like people are pulling out audio and all this. Just I'm like, and I understand what they're doing, but I'm like, man, the time and dedication, like it's all really fascinating to me personally.
Yeah, I think that some of the people in the Dead Drop community are definitely some of the most dedicated. Like, I wouldn't say gamers, but it's like so dedicated to Dead Drop and to the existence and to the community that is being built. Like, it's crazy to see all how many people are staying up till, like, I know that, like, last night I didn't get off to 4 a.m. in Arctics. I don't think he did get off. Like, art, like, we got some
Just power
people
through, man. More coffee.
more coffee.
Yeah,
Tea for me.
that's great. Yeah,
But
no, it is, and like you said, there's a lot of people. There's so many people that still can't actually even play Dead Drop yet. So again, like, again, that it was brought up in the AMA, and Rob reassured everybody that getting the game out on console is a number one priority for them. It just the industry, the way it works with certification on consoles, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of red tape, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a process, right? So they did. Rob reassured that it is a massive priority for Midnight Society to get Dead Drop on console as soon as possible. But my point to bringing that up was that, like Spaceman said, there's a lot of community members that maybe they don't play or maybe they don't contribute in a lot of other ways, but when it comes to that lore and getting involved in that story or cracking a code to help put those puzzle pieces together, this is where this community shines. We have a little bit of everything, right? We have folks like that are putting in those hours and doing that hard work, and I mean, without it, we need that, right? I think it's just really rounding off the diversity of this community and what it offers, right?
yeah, and speaking of diversity, it's like with how many different angles we have. Like, we have Mayor Reynolds. Like, today, Midnight Society posted
Yep.
a thing talking about all the crazy fan art that
This
and
was
like
I
fan
saw that video.
projects.
Absolutely incredible, folks. Check it out on Midnight Society's Twitter.
And it's just like seeing all this stuff with UGC, seeing all of the like live action creators, seeing people make their own stories, seeing people make their own weapon skins, armor, all of that. It's crazy to see how diverse this community is in the things that they do, because it's like I plan on getting into UGC, but it's like I right now wouldn't know the first step of it, but
I'm in the
like with
same boat. I'm going in fresh. I'm gonna check it out if I get granted access, and just to see what I can do. I'm probably leaning more towards like a weapon or character skin personally, but like you said, I've never touched video game software, Unreal Engine, Blender, none of it. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just like it's crazy, this community. I'm like I said this earlier, I'm very grateful to be a part of it and to see how far it's come. Like, even though there's only 10,000 variants, it's crazy to see how many claws are so active as well. Like we got
Hmm.
Like Dingle, for example. He's not a claw, but he's seen as one of the most honestly popular people in Dead Row, and that's
Yeah,
awesome
I,
to see.
I'm, I'm, yeah, I noticed that. Spicy Dingle. Shout out to him. He's a fantastic player. If you go up against him in a lobby, just be prepared. He is very good, um, and he's an awesome creator, an awesome, talented YouTuber, and we're happy to have him in the community, of course. But I did notice that. I noticed that he's actually not a variant. He's not a Founders Pass holder. Um, I don't know the story behind that, but I wonder if one day he'll decide to join the ranks. I mean, and I say decide, really, um, for context, I should be fair to say that um, joining the ranks of variants is there is a price tag on that, and these NFTs are not getting cheaper, folks. Now you do have
That,
an opportunity. You do have an opportunity to go on OpenSea and purchase one if you want to become a founder, but the average price right now is in the 700 range. So just be prepared, folks.
yeah, I'm very I'm glad that I got in at the time that I did, because I just don't know if I would have been able, because like the variant my variant in particular got offered like $1,200 one time, and it's
Whew.
like I don't know how I could have justified a purchase like that, especially like as you said earlier, I cannot play the game. Currently the ARG and the lore is all I got, and it's like if I could have justified spending $700 minimum on something like this, that
Right.
would have that'd been a hard one.
Yeah. Well, the good news about it is the founders pass, the variant is not required to play. Um,
Yes.
it does give you early access, but there's other tower keys that have been given out, and as these snapshots progress, the studio will eventually open it up to more and more people, and eventually the general public. Really, the founders pass, it does serve a lot of other purpose besides just early access to the game. But yeah, the founders pass, or if you manage to obtain a tower key right now, that's the only way to play it. And even then, if you're not on PC, you're still kind of locked out because it's so early in the development. There's a lot of certification they have to go through and different things, and we're just that early. And this is what's interesting about Midnight Society is we say this all the time, just to remind folks that listen in, because we always got new people coming in every day, that this game is earlier than any other game you might see out there. When AAA titles get ready to go into beta, it's almost a finished product at that point. Whereas Dead Drop started allowing the Founders Pass holders play it as soon as the first playable build was playable. You
Yeah,
know,
that's one
so
thing that they really like point out is like
mhm.
one of their first builds that they were able to play. We were in the first build that had multiplayer in it. We
Yep.
had as well. It's like we're getting very early introduction to all of these features, and it's because we're supposed to help. Like honestly, you'll see a bunch of people talking about how it's like the game's unoptimized or stuff like that, and it's like yeah, that's
That's
what
right
we're
on
here.
par.
Yep,
Yep.
we're here to help them change that.
Yes, actually, that is a big thing that's cool about, like, even if you're not a variant, if you're a claw and you have access, or if you're a tower key holder and you're able to play on PC, your feedback is a huge part of this process. It matters. It very much matters. Now, variants down the road, Founders Pass holders will get some more voting rights and a little bit more say so on certain things. That's really yet to be defined. But right now, overall, anyone that has access to play Dead Drop on PC, your feedback is crucial. And I implore you to go into the Discord after playing, or after you've felt like you've got your thoughts on the game summarized, and submit that feedback, because the developers really need that. And it's a great way to not only have your voice heard, but really have an impact as a community member on the future of the game. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like, and if like to those who can't play either, put forward your ideas. Snapshot 6 suggestions tab is up. If you're a variant, you have your what's called fill out on your profile page. I
Hmm.
do mine. Like just put your ideas out there. Like I have threads just with ideas for different grenades, different gadgets. Like, if you have an idea, put it out there. Otherwise, no one's going to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. What Spaceman said, all ideas are welcome. Like this community. We gush over the community so much, but I find it hard to really quantify into words the gravity of what that means, because there's plenty of games that come out and you have you know, like like a game will, let's say, go into alpha, or like a beta, or maybe they have a couple of betas. Like some games do like a first beta and then a second beta, right? And then they launch. Like I've seen games as early as a year before they launch start building up their communities, right? Dead Drop, what they're doing is so early and so unique, and the strength of the community, even right now today, with how early this game is mind blowing. I've never seen, like, I've been involved in communities with Destiny, with Halo back in the day, and I mean those are very very large communities, and had their peaks at very high numbers. And the stuff I'm seeing out of this community right now at this early of a stage blows my mind, and I love every second of it. It's an honor, honestly, to kind of be a part of it, man. It's really, I really feel like it's a privilege, because it's taught me a lot too about what's possible. You know, I can poke holes in a lot of other games communities. I'm sure we all could, and nothing's ever perfect, folks. I'm not trying to paint this picture like nothing, like everything's perfect. It never will be perfect. I don't think that's the point. I think the point is if you're looking for a group of people who are genuinely excited about a product with the benefit of the studio fully supporting that 100%, this is the place for you.
100%. Like, I'm obviously not as big of a name in these other communities, but I really enjoy games like Destiny and Diablo. And it's like, I try to play them, but none of, like, you don't have the same feeling as a community member as you do in Dead Drop. Yeah. Like, considering, like, there are times where I can just, like, randomly put an idea in, like, the Janelle chat and then have a dev respond asking me to elaborate on it. That's crazy. Like, yeah. When are you ever going to play Call of Duty and just randomly talk to one of the devs?
Yeah, like never.
Something about the game.
I think you'd get a lot closer to something like that in Destiny, but even that, I felt like you had to have like a really big following to kind of get that privilege. But it existed, right? It was there a little bit for a while. I don't know about nowadays. I haven't been in Destiny in a long time, but to your point with Dead Drop, at any given moment, we can go into the Discord, and someone can answer. Someone will most likely answer your questions. It might be a Sentry or a Night Command, which are volunteer folks that Midnight Society trusts to kind of help moderate the Discord and do a lot of other cool things. But a lot of times devs will pipe in too, and especially if it's like a bug related thing or something really technical that kind of needs attention real fast, they're very quick to respond. Moon, shout out to Moon and Alex and Nico. Those three, as far as developers go, when it comes to more PR related stuff or technical help, I see those three names pop up all the time on the dev side. Again, shout out to the Sentries and the Night Command folks too, because they're always there. That's kind of their bread and butter. But yeah, and then even on play sessions, like I've seen certain developers just randomly in the middle of the day go in the Discord and say, "Hey, I'm dropping in. Who's joining me? Who's coming for this tag?" Right?
30-minute lunch break spent well.
Hey, man, I know, right? It's the perfect time to jump in. So I guess what we're saying, folks, is Dead Drop is it's just a lot of fun, and I've already started to make a lot of really great friends, and I only see that becoming more and more of a thing as this thing goes along. So, well, speaking of making friends and community related things, we also yesterday got some big teasers about what possibly is on the horizon. So I talked about this a little bit earlier on the Roundtable Twitter Spaces, but I want to bring it up again. and get your thoughts, Spaceman. I mean, I'm pretty much sold on this at this point, but
Mm.
my question in the AMA yesterday was, will we have a live event for Snapshot 7? And the answer I got from Rob directly, this is all he said. He said 92. He said the number 92, and that was it. Now, it didn't take long for myself and other folks to kind of figure out what he meant by that. So if you Google what is 92 days from yesterday's date, which was the AMA, that lands you square on Friday, October 20th. Now, keep that number in mind because this rabbit hole is going to go a couple of layers here. So Friday, October 20th is also either the start of TwitchCon or day 2. I think it's the start of TwitchCon. So that's kind of interesting, but it's not so much that it's TwitchCon, it's where TwitchCon takes place, which is Las Vegas. Now, later during the AMA or right after the AMA, there was something that was leaked from what I believe was the Midnight Protocol bot. The Midnight Protocol bot was listening to a music track list, and that music track list spelled out like, so it would say like, you know, listening track 1 is claw, track 2 is this word, this word, this word. But if you line those words up and read the first letter of each word vertically, top to bottom, it basically spelled out a word that said, see you in Sin City. And Sin City is always referred to as Las Vegas. Now, that was a cool hint, but then one of the developers actually retweeted that and said, see you in Sin City. And they spelled the word sin as SYN, which is kind of a meta reference to synthetics in the world of Dead Drop. So it was kind of just this cool reference. But and the third layer of this whole thing, I know I'm rambling, but the third layer of this thing was Robert Bowling was saying in the AMA more than once, he hinted at cars, or y'all just almost got me to talk about cars, and I'm not saying nothing, but like they kept saying things and like kept, you know, dropping hints, and they've been dropping hints. They've been dropping hints in the variant guide. They've been dropping hints on this most recent Snapshot 6 reveal live stream. There was a pair of headlights that came through the fog, and Rob was even saying yesterday that the car is a massive feature that's coming to the game. And from everything I've gathered, Spaceman, it is sounding like not only are we getting a massive snapshot for number 7 with huge features, it sounds to me like they're gearing up for a massive live event on Friday, October 20th in Vegas. And if that's the case, I'm saving up my space dust right now, and I implore everybody else to do the same. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that if anyone is wanting to go to the next live event, that is your best chance. Start saving. I wouldn't say book anything till we get something more official.
Yes.
But yeah, LA baby, not LA.
Yeah. Emphasis on what Spaceman said right there is, we do this. This is not 100% confirmed. I'm confident that that's what it's gonna be, but in terms of like what the venue is gonna be and where that is gonna be at and where it's gonna be held specifically, none of those details are official or have even been announced yet. So we don't know, folks. All we could really do is probably mark our calendars and save up some money. I'm hoping personally that they give us a little bit more than a month's heads up notice. I believe early February was when they first started announcing the live event for March 17th for Snapshot 5. So that's a little bit more than a month. I hope in this scenario that they start talking about it sooner, because if it is going to be in Vegas around that time of year, at the same time as TwitchCon, booking hotels is going to be tough, and it might even be more expensive. So that's my wish list item, if you will. Again, folks, this is just speculation, but I'd say they're pretty credible based on the teases we got.
Do you think so? You think you're going to be at the next in-person event?
Oh, I've already marked my calendar. I'm already making a note to save the monies. I am 100% trying to be there. 100%. It's going to take a literal real life emergency to keep me from it. And God
All right.
forbid.
Gonna have
So,
some cleaners in your way.
yeah, dude, it's a oh my god, it's a problem. If anybody's been following my content, that's what Spaceman's talking about. I've been getting cleaned up, as it were, and it's so funny, man. I actually really love the mechanic. It obviously is super early, and they need to tweak some knobs, I think, on that. But overall, yeah. What do you think, Spaceman? What are you thinking about Snapshot 6? What are you loving about? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't play it. My fault.
Man.
No, that's on me. That's on me.
Well, I have
Okay,
to
let me ask
comment
this.
on
No, look, I know you watch a lot of streams and you check stuff out. From what you've seen, what do you like? What do you like? What do you think you're seeing that you would change or add, or what are you excited about? What are you thinking about it?
I love so first off, love the art direction. Of course, we had a very good sense of what Sector 3 was going to look like, but seeing it get arted out and getting more added, it just looks great. That's the best thing I can say about it.
Hmm.
And Proving Grounds 2, Sector 2, also looks amazing. I cannot wait to see it come out as an actual sector and see like the train station and everything else get added to it. Like it's going to be sick to see.
Yeah.
Um,
What? So you mentioned Proving Ground too, which is our new Proving Ground map. Which again, for folks that are new, the way Midnight Society has done it so far is before they release a new map or sector, they have what they call a Proving Grounds version of it, which is like an early blocky, unarted version of what it will become. But there's a lore implication of that too, where the variants create this proving ground. It's kind of like a mock-up of what they will eventually infiltrate in the refiner state in the tower itself. Is the lore behind it. But we all were pretty convinced that it would be Sector 5, and it looks like it's going to be Sector 2. Tell me about the differences that you know about. Tell me about the lore behind those, and what do we know about Sector 2?
so first, I want to comment on the Sector 5. I actually spoke with Bacon and I spoke with the marketing team during the dev talk, and I asked about that because we were pretty sure it was going to be Sector 5.
Yeah.
We saw what's called. We saw the mega lift. We saw the colors. It all matched up. It seemed like it was a pure coincidence. So Bacon said that the goal for the marketing around this snapshot was to be dust, that amber color. And marketing just seems that they weren't fully aware of Sector 5. And so it just looked a lot like Sector 5. And that's what got everyone going towards that direction.
Okay, that makes sense. You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense, and that plays right into the theme that we talk about, where this game is so early, right? This game is so early that even though the studio does have a cohesive vision, there's so many pieces to this puzzle that are so early that you're gonna have some stuff like that, like kind of to the point, right? Like the visual art style of the marketing for Snapshot 6 matched the early concept arts of Sector 5, the Foundry. But those concept arts are probably years old at this point, and the marketing team, you know, not everybody's gonna like have the deep rooted lore figured out this early because it's still being written. So that to me makes perfect sense. And if you say that the color and the aesthetic of the marketing pieces that they gave us for um, everything is revolved around space dust, I can like, to me, that does make sense. Space dust. If you look at the crates in Sector 3, I mean, the space dust is in this orange yellow color. So that does make some kind of sense. But at the same time, yeah, I'm sure they're probably looking at the way we received that marketing and how we thought it was Sector 5. And they're probably, and for future snapshots, I wouldn't be surprised if they look at that a little bit closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I don't think they're trying to trick us.
No, not
They're,
at all. I don't think there's any ill
yeah.
intent in that at all.
Um, but man,
So
I'm
Sector
so
2.
looking.
Yeah, what do we know about Sector 2?
So Sector 2. In the original concept art, it was a lobby area. It's like the public accessible area in the tower. Um, Lord knows why the public's going in there, but it's more of your
I know,
casual
right?
hangout area, and you can definitely see that with how the snapshot 6's Proving Grounds 2, it is inside of a it's like an apartment complex in Chicago. um it's like you can see stacks and stacks, and you can see the tower in the background. Like you said, the claws make these outside of the tower, before we go in there as their training grounds. um like it We don't know a ton. We know
Hmm.
a bit about it. One big thing that we do know is we know that the subway, from Mayor Reynolds' AMA a long time ago, we know that the subway station actually got taken out of Sector 1 for whatever sector was being built, and that actually I correctly guessed which would be coming next. I assumed I was wrong because the whole Sector 5 thing, but it seems when we rebound, I was right. Sector 2 seems to be adopting that subway station area. The what's been called the hobo tents, as one of the exits, the
Uh,
final.
I'm not sure. The final exit?
I don't think it's one of the final, but it's like it's at the bottom level. It's next to two tents. There's a barrel fire
Oh, that one.
active.
That one. Yeah.
Yes. If you look at the surrounding area, it looks like right before it is a subway entrance lot to where you would get your tickets and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's going to be a train is going to be the final exfil from the gas that is going to be in Sector 2.
Oh, you think the shutdown mechanic will be gas?
In the old ARG, we actually found out Sector 1 is flooding, Sector 2 is gas, Sector 3 was rising freeze. I don't think we know any of the others.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's once we do.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
like
so
that. I wonder. I wonder how that would work if they're gonna have it where it could come from any direction, or if it's gonna go from top down, or maybe a predetermined path, and or maybe there's like three or four predetermined paths that it flows through. I mean, that sounds a little more technical. What do you think it
mhm.
would be like? Just a top down? The smoke comes
So
from the vents.
well, we know that even though this game is a vertical extraction shooter, not everything is vertical. Like, not every single map is going to be based on getting really high up or
Yeah.
anything like that. I think that this map is going to try to enclose, like, as you can see, it's kind of a ramp, how the map is.
Yeah.
At one side, it is very high, very tall, and in the in between, you have these apartments that you can move around until you get to the bottom floor where the supposed subway would be. I think it's going to try to funnel you into that subway as the final exfil,
Okay. Yeah, I could
because
see that.
this sector doesn't have a megalift. The megalift begins in Sector 3 and it only goes up.
Right. Right. Man, I one thing that Rob kind of confirmed yesterday that I know people were like 50-50 on, though I've always thought it would be this way, but um so in the grand scheme of things, Dead Drop will have they're shooting to have 7 sectors, but the idea on how a match would be played is that in one match you would have the ability to traverse the
The
multiple sectors.
entire
It's not,
tap.
yeah, it's not a all right, like right now we circulate between cold storage and proving grounds too, but in the grand idea of it, it would they would be connected in some way where in a match we could traverse from one sector to the other, and in a lot of cases might have to due to shutdown mechanics. Um, I really think that's one of the most innovative ideas that I can't wait to see fleshed out because, again, it really plays into the uniqueness of Dead Drop. Um, all the sectors are going to be vastly different from one another and serve a very particular purpose. But the idea of, we start off and say we spawn in on sector 3, and if I go this way, I'm hitting sector 4. If I go this way, I'm hitting sector 2, and so on and so forth. What really has me intrigued about this idea is Snapshot 7, because with the introduction of the car and potentially a finished Sector 2, to me that says that could not only be a great time for them to market the huge piece that is the car mechanic, but also, by the way, our two sectors are connected now, and at any given time when you load in, you could traverse between the two. I think that would be a massive play. And if I'm Midnight Society and I'm gonna put marketing dollars behind a live event, that's a feature I would want given that scenario. So that's like my tinfoil hat theory, is that we're gonna get this live event for 7. I think they're gonna bring the car. I think they're gonna give us a way to traverse between sectors in a match, and who knows what else? Maybe a wingsuit or some other crazy new gadget. What do you think about all that?
So yeah,
Oh, are you there?
well,
Oh,
first, I can you hear me?
yeah, it was breaking up a little bit.
Can, yeah, sorry. It seems like I'm having some internet issues. But yeah, I 100% agree. I think we're going to most likely. No, I won't say that. I think that we're going to get the finished version of Sector 2. I think it's going to be connected to Sector 3, and I think we're going to be getting the gameplay loop for say. We're
Yeah,
going to get the ability to go into the tower and play extended matches through both sectors, because like obviously you're not going to be like, say that you load in, you have people in sector 3 and you have people in sector 2. I can almost guarantee that what's going to happen is it's like, oh, sector 2 is going to shut down. Everyone, you got to either get out or get to sector 3, and then sector 3 is going to shut down, and we're going to have an extended matchmaking time because
yeah. And to me, I mean, these maps are not what I would say are laid out for a car to exist in. However, comma, that doesn't mean that
no.
routes in between can't be built and are probably being built. I am so curious about the car mechanic because, like, I don't know if it's going to be used as a pre-spawn in lobby death race mechanic for fun, or if it's going to serve like as a summon, perhaps like in between moving around throughout a sector, or if I need to get from one to the other, I can summon this car. And like PUBG, you just find a car randomly and maybe you can run somebody over while you're doing it. And like I'm just so curious what their vision for this mechanic is going to be. They're putting a lot of development and effort into it. What do you think it might be?
So I was actually speaking to some people yesterday about this exact thing. Um, and just to give a little context, what I'm about to say. A while ago, me and HELMETFIRE, we made a video talking about the comics. And we went through decoding all the ones that were currently in the game and just seeing what they said. What we found is a lot of the comics teased features coming in the future. There was a comic teasing the colors on the cars. There was a comic teasing the sins. There was a comic teasing. Well, there is a comic teasing how cars will work. One of them says "race to the tower." I believe it says "build, drive, survive." So
Build, drive, and survive. Wow.
I, I think that's what it says. I could be wrong.
Well, it's long been
I'm gonna
teased
have to
that
think
we
about it.
would get customization options for this vehicle. Besides just paint.
Oh yeah. And if you actually look in game right now, you see a tab that says car parts. It's not just paint anymore, it's car parts.
Yeah, it's like literal
So
parts.
so what I'm going to imagine is that we are going to begin building our car, and we are going to, before matches, race to the tower. If you get in first, you're in first, you're looting first, and you're ready to fight first.
That
That's how I imagine it's going to work.
that sounds great. And I'll be curious to try it out and see how it feels. I wonder if there will be more to it than just that.
Yes, I'm curious about it. But if you actually look at the first video we ever got for Dead Drop teasing it, the one where the guy's driving on the motorcycle, he's driving through the city to the tower.
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking about. And if you have a copy of that video, I'd like it because I don't think it's on the website anymore.
It's not on the website, and I don't have a copy.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I
that's all right.
can. Yeah, there are some people who probably do somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to dig that up. But so,
Actually,
oh, go ahead.
I know a way to get access to that website. Use a web archive finder and put it in.
Oh, cool. Well, let's see. So, yeah, I really think that, here's the thing. Rob said 92. To me, that's 92 days. It lines up perfectly with all the other teases. And Rob also made a point yesterday in the AMA to say that, and this was his words, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, um, I know I made a joke about the team going all out for Snapshot 6, but let me tell you something, like, Snapshot 7 is going to be huge. And again, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the verbatim, but he said something to that effect. And to me, with all the teases and everything we know up to this point, and again, folks, you got to remember, if they're going to put the money behind a live event, you got to understand how expensive these things are. It's not cheap. It requires a large marketing budget, and they are very strategic from a business standpoint on when they do this. So if they're going to put that kind of money and effort behind a live event for Snapshot 7, you better believe that they are bringing the heat. This is going to be huge. Probably a lot bigger than Snapshot 5, most likely. That's
Yeah.
that's my tinfoil hat theory.
10 foot. Oh, I wear a lot of those around here.
Hey, I'm here
um,
for it, man. That's what we're here for. So, and you're a big contributor to that. So we really appreciate you.
yeah, no problem.
Well,
Um,
was there any last points we wanted to bring up? Anything specific?
Nothing huge. There is one thing I wanted to point out, and chats might get at me for this later.
No, go ahead.
Um, you know how space dust, that's the currency?
Yes.
That's not the currency.
Not a what?
Space dust is the drug slash toxin, and the refined space dust is actually just called dust. However, in game, it calls it space dust. That's an error. In the variant guide, the refined currency is dust.
Oh, well, space dust is. So run that back to me again, because space dust is the main product that the refiner state creates, and
And
it's.
it
Go ahead.
so if so whenever you look at the guide, it says that it takes space dust as these toxins, and that is what it makes in the tower. However, the refined version of the space dust are those coins, that currency that you spend.
Right, and they just call that dust, right?
Yes, but for some reason in game it's labeled space dust.
I
So
wonder. I wonder if they'll really laser in that hard on that particular detail, because I mean, I could see where people would, understand that space dust is, and dust are synonymous. I mean, sure, you could argue the refinement process, but in reality, I don't know how important that little detail will be in the grand scheme of things. If the whole world in Dead Drop runs on dust, everyone assumes space dust, right? Whether it's
well,
refined or raw, it's a product that controls the existence.
a tiny bit. I was
Okay.
speaking with the game economist during the dev talk,
Oh, tell me. I want to
and
hear it.
he was speaking about how, as we all know, space dust is a drug. It's a toxin
Yep.
that can be bricked out and sold, and I quote, they might be trying to move away from it being a drug per se, for rating reasons. It's not set in stone. It's still up in debate, and I even put towards my feelings that keeping it as a drug might be needed just for like the story concerns of keeping it unique and keeping it there. But space dust is currently kind of being it's still a term, it's still the toxin. However, dust might be the new direction that they go to get away from the drug itself.
I see. I see. And you said that it's, if they change it, it would be to avoid like an M rating or something.
Yeah. So currently the coins are dust. I feel like that's going to stay period. But the import, like say we're able to go into the tower and find a brick of space dust, that's still up in the air.
Right, right, right. Well, look, I mean, it's an in development title, so this is a great example of how things are always subject to change. Truly, I mean, this game, there's so much about this game that is always going to be iterated on, and even from a narrative standpoint, as Spaceman said, um, you know, in real life, the developers have to make decisions that they think is best for uh, the marketing and the ratings, and they got to think about those things. So don't yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if things change, and I'm kind of cool either way. I mean, Dead Drop, I mean, it's a shooter, and there's a level of violence to that, but yeah, I mean, the M rating from a business standpoint does limit your reach in a lot of ways, and I'm sure they're probably looking at that very closely. So, um, yeah, no, that's a really interesting thing. I unfortunately missed that Meet the Dev event. Was that like right after the live event?
Practically during and after. Yeah.
Yeah, I was streaming with my team, so I unfortunately missed it. Um,
Yeah.
but I know there
Aren't
was a
I
lot of really
thankful?
good info that came out of it.
Aren't I thankful I couldn't play, so I had time to talk with them.
Look, you being here in any capacity is more than I could ask, man. You guys, all the community members do some incredible stuff and provide great conversation, man. And everyone's so active. I mean, even if we're not in the lobbies playing, which for a lot of players they can't, but the Discord is always got people in it, man.
Always active. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I was even during this, I've been checking conspiracy theory.
yeah.
It's like
He's over
all
here
there's
just keeping
all
an eye,
these
making
chats.
sure that they don't get another ARG drop, right?
Hey, I'm still wondering what's up with those videos. We're 2 days in a row with missing dates. What's going on? But
If you ask me, another tinfoil hat theory here, I think that Mr. Avanti didn't expect us, the
to be
community,
done
to get
so
as far as we
fast.
did so fast.
Yeah, I would kind of expect that, but it actually, the day that we got in, that date was already in the website.
Right,
So
right.
who know? Who knows? I'm perfectly fine waiting a few days. Now if I stay up till 4 a.m. today and there's still nothing, I'm gonna be a bit heartbroken. But it is what it
We're
is.
gonna someone's gonna have to have some splaining done, right?
Oh yeah, if you go to this morning, there was a bunch of people begging and a bunch of memes being because Robert Bowling was actually up. He's normally never up unless there is something,
Right.
but he was up when there was supposed to be an update.
Everyone's pinging
So,
him.
oh, yeah. See,
Like,
at first,
what's that meme with the win button? Win, 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 win.
yeah, I believe Cozy was actually making some pretty funny memes with Robert Bowling, but
Cozy's a
there's
savage, man. He won't give you no slack, man.
man, he was flaming Lolo on them during the AMA.
I saw that poor Lolo, man. He was roasting people, dude. I was like,
Yeah,
man, Cozy, careful. These people have families, man.
yeah,
No, anyway,
but
Cozy's an awesome community member. He is, I believe, is he a Sentry or Night Command? I think he's Night Command.
I'm not 100% sure which. I know
Either
he's one of
way,
the
prominent community member and a member of Regiment GG. So, shout out to Cozy, and shout out to all the community members. We do got to wrap this episode up, but um, yeah, I want to shout out to. I know I've done covered a YouTube video covering the ARG a little bit. I just want to make sure that credit is given where credit's due. There is a long, long list of community members that have pitched in for this ARG information and who are active all the time. So I unfortunately don't have the list in front of me, but rest assured, if you were in there helping with that ARG at all in any capacity, you are noticed, you are appreciated very much. I know the community, it means a lot to everybody to interact and get that story from all of you. So thanks to all of you for the hard work and long hours that you have been putting in and will continue to.
all
So
right, yeah.
so Spaceman, where is the best place people can find and interact with you?
Twitter. My Twitter is I'm Mr. Spaceman, capital I, capital M, capital S.
And of course in the Midnight Society Discord too, right?
Yes, if you find me there, it will be Mr. Spaceman, or if you're trying to add me, do capital D, capital D, capital D, three U's.
Yeah. Well, look, Spaceman, this has been great. I'm really appreciative that you took the time out of your schedule to be on Variant Intel. It's been great, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yep. So that's going to do it for this episode of Variant Intel. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And with that, we're going to get out of here, and we will see you in the tower. Have a good one, everybody.